If not us, who? And if not now, when?
The following is an EHC media production.
Black power, got my fist in the air, screaming black power. I feel like Tookie Williams' last hour. We used to stand for something, but most niggas is cowards. Took rows to bars to sit down, so I'm pro-black like the pigs with the fist now. 80s, crack exists now. All these babies going crazy cause these ladies smoking daily now. So tell me, how you really gonna say the chow when it's still running through our veins as a juvenile? If something's gonna change, you better do it now. Since this makes sense, we gon' start a movement now. It'll take
Hey, it's me, Amir Blackman Costello, reminding you to tune in every week on the Four Corners Network and the RWT YouTube channel to War on Raw. I call it the best 10 minutes in the universe, and I just pick one topic and rant about it for 10 full minutes, and then I cut myself off. Don't forget to tune in every week. Every switchblade needs his switchbabe.
Welcome to episode 3 of Talking Strong Style with the Switchbabe. I am your OG Switchbabe, Courtney Summers, and today we're going to be talking about a new era in wrestling that I see dawning. I see the dawning of the alternative era. We are in the midst of seismic changes in the industry. We have gotten huge AEW news today that totally flipped this show on its head. I had a totally different show planned, and AEW broke a whole bunch of news within the past couple of days that, you know, really made me take a step back and really made me look at the industry as a whole, and see that we are headed towards the dawning of a new era, and it's the alternative era. No longer is it indie and WWE. To me, it has been for a while, if I'm being honest. It's been the alternative and WWE, because there's a clear, demarcation in fans that, there's a lot of fans that just watch WWE. They're in it for the sports and entertainment aspect. And then there are the fans that are in it for the in-ring, the talent. They're in it for that. And so today we're going to discuss what all of this means for the industry as a whole. And we're also going to talk about the chaos in WWE that's going on right now, and how it's made me say, Vince, it's time for us, a la Ross and Rachel from Friends, it's time for us to take a break from me watching weekly WWE. And I'm going to take that discussion and kind of turn it into a positive and discuss, different companies that are out there. If you are burnt out on weekly WWE programming, what you can watch instead, and what type of, fan it'll attract. to really give you, something else to watch and something else to, spend those 3 hours on Monday, 2 hours on Tuesday, those 5 total hours, spend it on something a little bit better that maybe you'll like better and you won't be as miserable. And then we're going to do Ask the Switch Babe, of course, and I have some excellent questions this week. So without any further ado, let's just dive right into it. AEW this week, they announced the signings of Angelico and Jack Evans. Now, a lot of people aren't familiar with Angelico and Jack Evans, but a lot of people that have been fans of the alternative scene for years, like PWG, Lucha Underground, Progress, we're familiar with these two. And to the New Japan fans that are, curious, that a baseline for you to judge them on, if you thought El Phantasmo has been impressive since he has came to New Japan as the newest member of Bullet Club, you haven't seen anything yet. Angelico and Jack Evans are death-defying high flyers who are just amazing in the ring. Like, I've seen in Lucha Underground Angelico do some insane spots where I was just like, how did he just not die in this moment? But he didn't, and it was awesome. Give me more of that, please. Jack Evans has also had some insane moments through the years on the independent scene out on the West Coast. And he's a good friend of the Young Bucks, and I'm just so super thrilled and super stoked to see Angelico and Jack Evans headed to AEW. And I think that they are killer signings. Good job, Matt, Nick, Cody, Kenny. Just good job on that one. And we also have more AEW news in the fact that AEW did something kind of unique and something kind of nice for the UK fans. The UK fans learned of how they're going to get to view Double or Nothing first, which for me, I applaud you on, because the UK fans have been neglected for years by WWE. Like, they have been asking for a Mania or a pay-per-view in the very least, or at the very least. They've been asking for that for years, and they've been ignored, and they've been told because of time difference, like, you can't do it, when it's really feasible if you aired a WrestleMania even from Wembley, and you aired it like at the same time that they air the NXT UK show now. Like, that would be perfect. It's a Sunday anyway, people aren't working, you don't have to worry about that. Just have like an all-day daytime party here in the U.S., like, make brunch of it, like, have fun. And it really could be possible. It's just WWE chooses not to do it. So to see, AEW announce to them first that they're going to be able to watch Double or Nothing via ITV box office, I believe, for rounded up to 15 pounds, which is very reasonable. That converts to $20 here in the U.S. I just applaud them. And the fact that there could be weekly television on ITV, which from what I hear from my friends in the UK is pretty much free television, that's just amazing. And I give you guys a round of applause on that get. That is a huge get for you, which leads us into another huge get for us here at home in the U.S. It's not confirmed, so don't hold me to this, but I am hearing that TNT is going to be where you can watch AEW weekly television starting in the fall. And if this is indeed true, this is another huge get for AEW. This is another, this is huge. TNT is a huge network. It's been around for ages upon ages upon ages. And in fact, WCW was on TNT because it used to be the Turner Network, right? So it's pretty cool to see this. And there's been a call online, if this is true, to go ahead and just have the first episode of the Mall of America just because. And I kind of co-sign that sentiment. Like, let's, set this up as if this is really a war and we're really trying to compete here with Vince, then make it a war, make that statement. And if we're on TNT, then do it at the Mall of America for the first show. Make that statement. Like, that would just be amazing. So this brings me into another kind of story that broke today about AEW. There was a rumor started by Ringside News and other sources that Double or Nothing was going to be streamed free here. And I kind of knew it was BS. So, I went to a friend and they kind of helped me confirm that, yes, it was BS. And to me, this is a very teachable moment for us as a wrestling community on social media, especially Twitter, where information gets disseminated quicker than you think. If you click that engagement on your tweet, you will see like how many times somebody has seen that tweet. And that's the potential for that person to tell like 5 or 6 more people, and then it just further propagates. So as a community, we have a responsibility to, if something sounds too true, it probably isn't. And especially in this case where David Bixenspan was quoted, his tweets were quoted, and it made it seem like Double or Nothing was going to be free. Like, you have a responsibility just to yourself, just to confirm for yourself and your own sanity and your own peace of mind, if anything, to go and just, it's not hard to type in @DavidBix on Twitter and go and look at his timeline, or to just shoot him a tweet and say, hey, did you report this? Did you say this? I know that you're not a wrestling journalist. I understand that. But, you're only hurting AEW and you're only hurting the fans' credibility when you spread false information like that. So I'm just trying to use this as a teachable moment to say that don't believe everything you read, especially something like that is like so too good to be true. It's ridiculous. Go and confirm it for yourself. Trust but verify. And that is all that I ask of you. And that brings me to some more AEW related news. Chris Jericho is now in line for a title shot at Dominion versus Kazuchika Okada. And, we all know it's basically this podcast gimmick that I am the biggest Jay White fan in the world, and Jay White was in line for that title shot after winning the match with Goto. And this kind of, it kind of gives me a little bit of a bad feeling, because back World Tag League, after all the guys had worked for that whole month-long tour, and these guys had earned a title shot, the Bucks just walked in and were able to get in that triple threat match with Evil, Sonata, God, and themselves. And it just feels like that scenario playing out again, where we're seeing, elite guys being given, first dibs on everything. And I would just hope, and I trust in Gato, and maybe this is for the best. Maybe there is some grander plan that, like, right now I'm going to see this in a few months and I'm going to be kicking myself for not seeing it. But, that's why I had a bad feeling about it, and that's why I kind of got really salty about it and kind of went off a little bit, is because, I just don't want that to happen. I don't want it to be where AEW guys come in and they get priority over New Japan guys, because I want Gato to focus on home base first. Focus on home base first. And I would hope that AEW would, if there's a working relationship, they would kind of feel the same, that if, New Japan guys come over, that AEW guys are taken care of first. I would hope it would be that type of a symbiotic relationship that works both ways. And that's what I'm hoping for, and that's what I'm going to stay hopeful for. And, this isn't AEW hate. This isn't anything like that. It's just, me expressing a valid concern that I have. And it's nothing against AEW, like I've said in the past. Been with the Bucks for 10 years. I will back them on pretty much anything that they do. And, you know, I want AEW to be a success. I want New Japan to be a success. I want both companies to do well. But at the end of the day, they have to both look out for the home team in both companies. Like, New Japan has to look out for New Japan. AEW has to look out for AEW. And I would hope that that would lead to a beautiful working relationship, which would be awesome. Because it would be awesome to get Kenny back for a match or two, or a special singles match. That would be fantastic. It would be nice to, you know, do the Buck versus GOD maybe again. That would be nice. But, you know, for special singles matches, like, don't overrun, you know, New Japan with AEW, and don't overrun New Japan and don't overrun AEW with New Japan, you know, and vice versa. So that is my main concern with that right now. But I'm gonna trust Gato on this, and trust that in, you know, a few months I'll look back and I'll understand why this Jericho match was made. But until then, we shall see. And that brings me to some news out of MLW. I am a huge Von Erich fan. Yeah, they weren't around really much when I was alive, if any. And I kind of fell in love with them, you know, through finding world-class championship wrestling from Texas, finding those videos online and on YouTube, and watching the Von Erichs and watching their current affairs story really fascinated me with that family and just the tragedy of it all. And I watched the Viceland Dark Side of the Ring documentary that they did on the Von Erich family, and they did a fantabulous job of presenting the facts, presenting how it happened, and really making you feel like you were there. Like, there were so many moments where I just got chills because it was just that engrossing. Like, you felt like you were there. You felt that family's pain, and it was just well done. And I applaud Viceland on their presentation of this entire series. If you haven't checked it out yet, you need to. They've covered the death of Bruiser Brody already last night. They covered the death of Dino Hernandez. Like I said before, they've done the Von Erichs. And there was another one I think they did, but I can't remember which one that is. But it's a beautifully done series. And if you're a wrestling fan, especially an older, you know, more vintage wrestling fan like I am, definitely check that out. It is worth your time. And speaking of the Von Erichs, out of MLW, Kevin Von Erich's sons, Ross and Marshall, have just been signed to MLW, which makes me very happy to see. Both of those guys are very talented. They're nice guys. They were raised right by their father. They are talented in the ring. They have that third generation Von Erich prestige with them, and I think that they will do great. And I want to see some new Heart Foundation matches versus the Von Erichs, because a series of 7 tag matches with the Heart Foundation and the Von Erichs would be insane. Like, that is like dream match territory. And so I just want to extend a heartfelt congratulations, and you earned this, to Ross and Marshall Von Erich, sons of Kevin. And just, I wish you nothing but the best. May you shine like the stars that you both are. And that leads me into a little bit of Impact news. I got word that Slammiversary tickets are going on sale May 20th. So if you are in Dallas, or you're in that area of Texas, or maybe in Texas and would be willing to travel, go ahead and check that out. Impact's product has been great, and I am crossing my fingers, pun very much intended, that cross is booked and that I get to say hello, because I am going to do VIP, because that VIP is worth it. The price that they charge is very reasonable, and I would encourage you to check it out. So go on ahead and check that out if you want to. And this leads into the WWE chaos that was this week. We had the head writer of Monday Night Raw fired, and then I know that led to backstage chaos and pandemonium. I know a script was ripped up hours before the show started, and we have this wild card rule where they've seen that we see that talent really are bouncing back and forth between shows, and the brand split really isn't been respected. Like I've made this reference before, the brand split, like the limit in Mean Girls, does not exist. It just doesn't at this point. And so we have this wild card rule where it started out as 3 superstars can appear from SmackDown on Raw, and then vice versa, 3 Raw stars can appear on SmackDown in the same week. And then it got up to 4. And it was like, this is just chaos. And what it's done is it's going to hurt the mid-card, because now you're only going to be featuring high-profile stars, and you're not going to be featuring the lower and mid-card guys as much. And it's going to hurt that mid-card. And WWE needs to just start letting talent go. Like, let Harper go if he wants to go. You know, let the Revival go if they want to be set free. And stop putting them through public humiliation with Icy Hot in their trunks and shaving each other's backs. You know, like that's just not necessary, Vince. You know, you have a super bloated roster, and it's time to start cutting some of the fat and letting some people go, so that way you can focus on the talent that you have now and those future stars that you have coming up from NXT, who are already, in my eyes, bona fide stars. Ricochet is already a bona fide star in my eyes. Aleister Black is already a bona fide star in my eyes. And in order to allow them to progress and become even bigger stars, you're going to need to cut some of the fat, Vince, and you're going to need to let some people go. And I'm sorry, but this response to possible competition in AEW just, it ain't it, Chief. So, you know, and there were also pictures of, you know, the arena very tarped off at SmackDown this week, and it's just, you know, business isn't good, Vince. And it got me to the point where I'm done. I'm done with weekly WWE programming besides NXT UK and NXT here in the States. I'm done. You know, like I can't put myself through 5 hours of just torture, you know, every week. And it's nothing to do with the talent, because like I said, there are several people that are on main roster WWE right now that I just adore and think the world of, but they just aren't getting used right. And it's just, you know, I've got to stop the pain. We got to stop the bleeding a little bit on my end. I got to put the Band-Aid on, and I've got to take a step back. And like I said before, like Ross and Rachel, we're on a break, Vince. We're on a break for the foreseeable future. And so what I decided to do is I actually signed up for Stardom World, which is the Joshi promotion out in, which Joshi, for those of you who do not know, that is all female wrestling in Japan. And there's this really cool company called Stardom. Tony Storm from NXT UK still works there. Bea Priestley works there. Mayu Iwatani works there. There are several other girls. Like I just started really watching this week. So, you know, I only know of so many, but I am, you know, slowly learning these girls and their characters and everything. And just the show is so fun and it's so well put together. And these girls go out there and they kick ass and they take names. And it's just awesome to watch. And so I've decided that for the foreseeable future, while me and Vince are on a break, that I'm going to spend, you know, Monday or Tuesday night, I'm going to spend that watching some Stardom stuff and getting to know these girls and their characters and the inner workings of this promotion, because it's just, like, I'm much happier watching that than I am watching main roster. Which leads me into the fact that we are in a dawning of a new age, the alternative era, where, like I just said, I just signed up for Stardom, and I'm going to watch those girls every week instead of watching main roster WWE. And you can do the same. It doesn't necessarily have to be Stardom. There are several companies out there. There's AAA that does Lucha Libre down in Mexico, where a good friend of the show, Killer Cross, he works down there all the time. He is undefeated down there. In AAA, you owe him a title shot. And time is ticking. So TikTok. Okay? And they have really exciting, fun matches. I watch AAA to see Cross, but I end up enjoying the entire show. And it's something really fun and enjoyable. And, you know, they do have English commentary now. So, you know, if you want to check AAA out, they're always streaming on Twitch. They always have a show streaming. Like, I always have an alert on my phone from Twitch saying that AAA is streaming. So, you know, there's always that content there for you to enjoy. There's also GCW, Game Changer Wrestling, where, you know, you have more of the hardcore type extreme environment. And they are just brilliant, you know, and I adore that company. And, you know, if you're into more of the hardcore type stuff, I would check out GCW. Impact is doing great as well. Impact has Killer Cross there, of course, and Impact, I've just got one thing to say. Killer Cross, one-on-one world title shot. It needed to happen yesterday. The dude is phenomenal. He is amazingly talented. He's a gentleman outside of the ring. If anybody deserves that title shot and deserves to hold that title and be the champion of your company, it's Killer Cross. So, like I said with AAA, TikTok, time's wasting. And then you also have the incredibly talented Tessa Blanchard, who I think the world of. I adore her. I adore her attitude, her take no prisoners, take no shit attitude that she has, that she knows that she's undeniable. She knows that she's the diamond and that she is the standard. And she just does that so very well. You also have Jordan Grace, who is just the ultimate powerhouse in female wrestling to me right now. You know, she is so strong and she's just so powerful, and she can just do these moves that just, you know, like just thinking about doing them myself gives me a hernia. So that just shows you how strong that she is and how capable she is. And to me, the Impact Women's Division is the most solid women's division we have in American wrestling right now. I mean, Ring of Honor has a really good one, but to me, the Impact women's roster is bar none the most talented right now. You also have the Rascals, if you like more of the funny stuff. Their joke is we're smoking pot and it's a smoke circle and everybody's giggling and laughing and hallucinating and seeing shit that isn't there. And it's just hilarious. It's very, you know, that 70s show smoke circle style type gimmicks with them. And they are amazingly talented in the ring. They can fly around the ring. They're in that X division, tearing it up every week. And they're once again somebody that's on that roster that you should definitely check out. And then we have the Smoke Show, Scarlett Bordeaux, who she's been doing a lot of intergender matches, which, you know, I applaud Impact for doing, because I, like Killer Cross, believe if you're enjoying intergender wrestling from a healthy perspective psychologically, there is nothing wrong with it. You know, women, we can defend ourselves. We know how to kick a man's ass just as well as we know how to kick a woman's ass. So, you know, I love seeing that with Scarlett, and her gimmick is a smoke show. She is bringing sexy back to wrestling, but she's doing it in a way that's empowering, where she's owning her own sexuality. And that, to me, is just amazing. And I applaud Scarlett for her work, and her work has actually, you know, kind of impacted me a little bit, because, you know, I'm like, yeah, I could, you know, rock shorts again. You know, I could, you know, be my own version of sexy and find empowerment in that. And it's just beautiful, and I applaud her on that. Then we got ROH. They have the Kingdom. They have Kelly Klein. They have Mayu Iwatani from Stardom over there frequently. They have Sumi Sakai. They have They actually have from Impact, that used to be on Impact or TNA back then, Angelina Love and Velvet Sky, that are now doing the Allure with Mandy Leon. You have Marty Scurll, PCO, Brody King, just an amazing list of talented athletes there. You have NJPW, of course, which we all know I love and adore. You know, I could list out their talent, but, you know, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with that if you're listening to this podcast. You have Noah as well. You have Progress and ICW out in the UK. So there really is something for everyone. So, you know, instead of spending that 5 hours being miserable, you know, decide to check out your alternatives and see what works for you and find something that you like, because there's no use in being miserable in life, is there? So that brings us to the end of the discussion of topics for this week, which brings me into this week's Ask the Switchbabe, which I got some really good questions, including a funny one that we're going to have some fun with. But, excuse me, like I said before, pollen here, just insanity. The first question I got, and this was from the RWT Facebook group, this was from David, the artist formerly known as Butcher Gillum. And he asked, why am I so great? And Butcher, you are so great because me and you get along so well, and I feel like I have a British brother from another mother. And I adore you, and I love you, and that is why you are great, Butcher. And the next question up from the RWT Facebook group is from Moses Marquez. Got a few questions, LOL. With the best of the Super Juniors starting up, who is your dark horse to win it? Who out of the newcomers do you feel will have the biggest impact? Finally, LOL, who is your pick to win it all? Dark horse is your underdog pick. First off, who is my dark horse to win it? My dark horse to win it is, I would have to say, Robbie Eagles. He is a dark horse to win, for sure. He is phenomenally talented in the ring, the Sniper of the Skies and Bullet Club. He really is good at being a junior heavyweight and, you know, those aerial maneuvers and everything that it requires. And I think he's a good dark horse. He's a good one to watch. Who out of the newcomers do I think will have the biggest impact? I would say El Phantasmo, because El Phantasmo is shocking people already. Like, he has people's jaws on the floor, and I'm sitting here telling people, I told you so. I told you El Phantasmo was amazingly talented. I told you were going to be, you know, with your jaw on the floor, just stunned. And I think he's going to have the biggest impact. And who's my pick to win it all? To win it all, it's really tough because we have just such a list of competitors. But gotta go with this one's a toughie. You know what? Let's keep this in the club. I'm gonna go with what I said, my dark horse, Robbie Eagles. I think it's his time to win something big in New Japan, to really make that impact, that he is here as a solid member of the Bullet Club, and he is just talented, and he's a sweetheart of a guy, and you know, I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for Robbie Eagles to win Best of the Super Juniors. Favorite from Harold Joseph Hunter III in RWT. Favorite move and favorite wrestling style. My favorite wrestling style, without a doubt, is Japanese strong style, pure Resu. I love that style. It's just so snug. It's just incredibly realistic and well done. So that would be my favorite style. My favorite move. Now, this will harken back to Killer Cross. I love a good Saito. A Saito that just, it looks devastating. It looks like somebody literally just got paralyzed. But it's done so beautifully in such a way that you just can't help but go ooh and ah. And Killer Cross has an amazing Doomsday Saito. Jay White has a Snap Saito that is just gorgeous. Every time he does it, I'm like, oh my God, he's just doing it perfectly. And so if I had to pick a favorite move, it would be the Saito suplex. Then I got this in Facebook Messenger from my partner in crime, Mike Larkin. He says, we have seen them wrestle before on the Indies, but how much would you like to see Killer Cross versus Jeff Cobb in either ROH or New Japan? I would love to see this match happen on a bigger stage, for sure. Jeff Cobb is an Olympian, and Killer Cross has multiple mixed martial arts disciplines. So that would be a legit match that I would really want to see. It would be definitely snugly worked, realistic, and may God help the arena that has to host that. That's all I gotta say. So I have a question on Twitter from a fellow Switchbabe, Renee Sergey, and she asked, if you could spend an entire day with either Jay White or Killer Cross, who would it be and what would you do? Now, I've already kind of spent the day with Jay at the Bullet Club block party. So I'm going to be fair, and I'm going to pick Killer Cross. And what would we do all day? We would probably go get coffee and talk sociology and politics and philosophy and conspiracy theories and all of that fun stuff. And maybe call me insane, but I love the outdoors. I love hiking. He loves hiking. Maybe, go hiking in the desert in Nevada. That would be really cool. And call me crazy. Like, I trust a man to not leave me 8 miles out in 6 deep. You'll get that if you're a Cross School member. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And then maybe wrap up the day by going to like a concert, like a cool concert, like Chelsea Wolfe that me and Cross are both huge fans of. Like, that would be just an amazing way to wrap up that day. Like, that would be the dream day with Killer Cross. Have that deep conversation over coffee, go outdoors and hike, go to a metal concert or a Chelsea Wolfe concert. Like, that would be like the dream day with Killer Cross. And I appreciate that question, Renee. Metal Michael asked, do you think the current train wreck style of booking of Raw could appeal to fans in a hot mess kind of way? Yes, I do. And I am a perfect example of this because I will tweet, I'm just watching this for the clusterfuck. I'm just watching this to laugh at how stupid it is. And I definitely see that phenomenon over and over again, especially in the podcasting community and those of us who cover it. A lot of us are, we're just watching to see the train wreck. And eventually you do burn out on that, though. Eventually you do get burnt out on seeing that train wreck. And that's kind of where I'm at. And the last question that I received this week was from Andrew914. And he asked, what are some of your favorite indie shows you've attended through the years? I attended Ring of Honor shows about 8-9 years ago. I attended TNA shows. Like, what I would do is I would start, like, they would have shows in Biloxi, Vicksburg, and Baton Rouge back in the day. And I would make that loop of 3 shows. Like, I would follow them. Like, I loved TNA that much that I would follow. I would basically follow the tour bus, and I would go, and watch all these shows and drive all these hours and just had a blast. And those really are some of my favorite shows I've ever been to. Getting to hang out backstage with, the talent, because, if they knew you enough, like you really did, get to hang out a lot. And it was a really fun time as a fan. Recently, I've been to an ROH show in San Antonio. Really enjoyed that. Had a great time, met the Kingdom guys, met Marty Skrull, met Shibata, just had a great time. So, you know, it's in between, you know, those TNA / Impact shows that they had down here back in the day, and the Ring of Honor show that I recently attended. So that about wraps up the answer to that question, and that wraps up the show for today. And I just wanted to take a moment to just, once again, it's Mental Health Awareness Month, and you know, it's okay to reach out for help. It's okay to say you're sad. It's okay, you know, if you need support, you know, don't hesitate. Because last night I had a moment where, you know, I was kind of sad about something, and people loved me through it. And that's the wonderful thing about social media. That's the wonderful thing about the internet, is that you have a community of people that are ready to love you through just about anything. And just know that I love you. I think you're awesome. I think you're a beautiful person, and you are enough. Just always remember that. Just always remember to tell yourself that you're enough. You're enough the way you are. And don't let anybody else tell you any different. And with that being said, we're going to wrap up the show for this week. And you can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at SwitchbabePod. And you can also follow my personal Twitter account at AXIMILI55. And you can go to the RWT YouTube page to watch the show if you want to watch it there, or go to Four Corner Network, their website, and the show will be there as well. And I hope you have a fabulous week. I hope that this week has been good to you, and I hope that your weekend is amazing. And until then, talk to you later.